students. So today I will be discussing radioactivity. Radioactivity. What is radioactivity? So radioactivity is a spontaneous emission. It is a spontaneous emission of a particle or radiation from the nucleus. From where the emission will take place? From the nucleus of an atom. And this phenomenon is called radioactivity. It was discovered by Henry Becquerel. It was discovered by Henry Becquerel. So some of the atoms whose nucleus is unstable, from the nucleus some particles or radiations are emitted. This phenomena of spontaneous emission of particle or radiation is called radioactivity. It was discovered by Henry Becquerel. There are two types of radioactivity. One is called the natural radioactivity, another is called the artificial radioactivity. Another is called the artificial radioactivity. Radioactivity is a nuclear phenomena. Radioactivity is a nuclear phenomenon because the particles or radiation comes out from the nucleus. So atoms whose nucleus is unstable, they spontaneously emit some particle or radiation, and that is called radioactivity. One thing you have to keep in mind, that it is not affected by any external change. It is not affected by any external change like pressure, temperature, concentration, etc. So radioactivity, these like pressure, temperature, concentration has no effect on radioactivity. It is a first order reaction. As you already know, what is a first order reaction? So first order reactions are those reactions where the rate of the reaction depends on the one concentration of the reactant. Here the initial number of atoms, the rate depends. And natural radioactivity was discovered by Henry Becquerel, and artificial radioactivity was discovered by Madame Curie and Frederick Joliot. So that you have to keep in mind, that natural radioactivity was discovered by Henry Becquerel, whereas the artificial radioactivity was discovered by Madame Curie and Frederick Joliot. There are so many instruments which is used to detect radioactivity. Few of them are Geiger-Müller counter, GM counter we call it in short, Wilson cloud chamber, as well as scintillation counter. So these are the instruments which is used to detect radioactivity. There are some units of radioactivity, some different units like Curie. Curie is the unit of radioactivity which is the number of particles emitted by 1 gram of radium-226, whose half-life is 1600 years. So it is equal to 3.7 into 10 to the power 10 dps. Dps here means disintegration per second. Rutherford is equal to 10 to the power 6 disintegration per second. Even Becquerel is the unit, and 1 Becquerel is equal to 1 dps, that means 1 disintegration per second. The elements above atomic number 84 are definitely radioactive. So the heavier elements are generally radioactive, and they emit alpha, beta, gamma rays. Alphas are doubly charged helium ion, betas are fast moving electrons, and gammas are fast moving electromagnetic wave or highly energetic electromagnetic wave. So in natural radioactivity, alpha, beta and gamma radiations are emitted. These are also called Becquerel rays. Because it was discovered by Henry Becquerel. Now let's see the difference between alpha, beta and gamma rays. The symbol of alpha is doubly charged helium He++, whereas the symbol of beta particle is electron E-1 0, and for gamma is gamma 0 0. The charge on alpha particle is +2, the charge on beta particle is -1, and charge on gamma is 0. The mass of alpha particle is 4 mu because it is doubly charged helium ion, so the mass of helium atom is 4. Beta rays, the mass is 0.00055 amu. The mass of gamma rays is 0. Specific charge for alpha is 0.5 unit per amu. For beta it is 1 upon 0.00055, and for gamma is 0. The velocity of alpha is 1% of velocity of light. 1% of velocity of light. it can reach to 10% also. But velocity of beta particle is 33 to 99% of velocity of light, whereas the velocity of gamma rays is equal to velocity of light. The velocity of light is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. The penetrating power of alpha rays are the lowest, beta ray is intermediate, and beta rays can penetrate or can be stopped by 5 mm aluminum sheet, whereas gamma rays has the highest penetrating power and it is very dangerous also. The ionizing power of alpha is high because of its high kinetic energy due to higher mass. Beta ray is intermediate, lesser than alpha, and gamma rays has the least ionizing power. All of these rays affect zinc sulfide screen. The alpha, being a positively charged, is deflected towards the negative plate. Beta, being a negatively charged, is deflected towards the positive plate. Beta, being lighter, deflects more than alpha, which is heavier. Gamma is not deflected because it is neutral. So these are the difference between alpha, beta and gamma rays. These are the difference between alpha, beta and gamma rays. Now let's discuss law of radioactive decay. It was given by Rutherford and Soddy. According to this theory, if a radioactive emits one alpha particle, then the atomic number and mass number of the new element formed will be less by 2 and 4 units respectively. That means the mass number will be decreased by 4 units and the atomic number will be decreased by 2 units when a radioactive substance undergoes alpha emission. And during beta emission, the mass number remains same, but the atomic number increases by 1 unit. Now, just see this equation. If you see this equation, what you will notice that uranium-238 92 undergoes alpha emission. So due to alpha emission, the mass number decreases by 4 units and atomic number decreases by 2 units. Now thorium, so uranium-238 forms thorium-234. Now thorium undergoes beta decay. So during beta decay, the mass remains same. But the atomic number increases by 1 unit. Protactinium undergo another beta decay to form uranium-92-234. So after 1 alpha and 2 beta, you have to keep in mind an isotope of the element is formed. So after 1 alpha and 2 beta, one isotope of the element is formed. So uranium undergo 1 alpha and after 1 alpha and 2 beta, if you see, then these and these are isotope. Now consider thorium. If you see thorium, it undergoes 2 beta and 1 alpha, so it forms another thorium, which is the isotope. So this thorium and this thorium are isotope of each other. So after every 1 alpha and 2 beta, isotopes are formed. Now consider just the beta emission. During beta emission, what you are noticing here, the number of neutron is 144, and here what atomic number are different but the mass number is same. So during after 1 beta emission, the isobars are formed. So 1 beta emission results into isobar and 1 alpha and 2 beta results into isotope. As you know, isotopes are atoms of the same element having same atomic number but different mass number, whereas isobars are different elements having same mass number but different atomic number. So this was given by Rutherford and Soddy. This is called law of radioactive decay. Now let's see the trick to find the number of alpha particle emitted. So the number of alpha particle emitted can be calculated by the formula AP minus AD upon 4, where AP is the mass number of parent and AD is the mass number of daughter. So difference in the mass number of parent and daughter divided by 4 will give you the number of alpha particle emitted. So this has been asked not only in chemistry, this has been asked in physics also. So the number of beta particle emitted is equal to 2 into number of alpha emitted minus difference in the atomic number of parent and daughter. So let's see this example, and this example will clear your concept. So uranium-238 92 undergoes a series of alpha or beta decay to finally form lead-206. So number of alpha particle emitted is AP. Mass of parent is 238, so 238, and mass of daughter is 206 upon 4, so that is 32 by 4. 32 by 4 is 8. So number of alpha particle emitted is 8. Now coming to number of beta particles. So number of beta particle emitted 2 into alpha. So 2 into 8 is 16 and minus delta Z. 92 minus 82 is 10. So number of beta particle is emitted is 6. Number of beta particle emitted is 6. This way we can calculate the number of alpha particle emitted as well as the number of beta particle emitted. This has been asked in many competitive exams, even in advanced IIT. Keep in mind, medical entrance, so many entrance exam, MSET, IIT. So keep this in mind, and this is useful for physics as well as chemistry. So this chapter becomes very, very important for your exam. Let's see the radioactive series. So there are two types of radioactive series. One is called the natural series, another is called the artificial series. So 4n series, also called thorium series, 4n plus 2, also called uranium series, and 4n plus 3 series, also called actinium series, belong to the natural category. Whereas the 4n plus 1 series, which is called the Neptunian series, belong to the artificial series because it was created in laboratory, or it is also called man-made series. It is also called man-made series. You should know that the natural series, the end product is lead isotope. But in case of artificial series, the end product is bismuth. So in the natural radioactive series, the end product is lead isotope. Lead atomic number is 82, whereas in the artificial series, the end product is bismuth. The atomic number of bismuth is 83. It is a group 15 element, and lead is a group 14 element. So this you have to keep in mind. And in which series how much alpha and beta are emitted, that you can easily calculate if you already know how to calculate the alpha and the number of alpha emitted as well as the number of beta particle emitted. So let's see the 4n series, which is also called a natural series or thorium series. It starts from thorium 23290 to form lead 20882. So if you try to calculate the number of alpha, 232 minus 208 is 24 by 4, that is 6 alpha will be emitted here. And I have already explained you the number of beta emitted is 2 into alpha minus delta Z. So 2 into alpha is 12 and delta Z is 90 minus 88, so there will be 4 beta particle emitted. So during the 4n series, that is thorium series, the number of alpha emitted is 6, whereas the number of beta emitted is 4. This has been asked in various competitive exams, so do keep it in mind. Now 4n plus 1 series, this starts from plutonium 24194 and it terminates in bismuth 20983. So you can easily find out the number of alpha particles. So number of alpha will be 241 minus 209, that is 32 by 4, that is 8 alpha will be emitted, and 2 into alpha 8 minus 94 minus 83 is 11, so this is 16. So 5 beta particle will be emitted. So during the 4n plus 1 series, that is Neptunian series, the number of alpha emitted is 8 alpha, whereas the number of beta particle emitted is 5 beta. So this you have to keep in mind for your upcoming exam. Now let's see the 4n plus 2 series. So how you will know that whether the given series is 4n plus 1, 4. So what you have to do is see the starting members, like 238. Divide this 238 by 4. So 4 5 is 20, 3 8, so 5 4 9 is 36, that means 2 is left. Therefore it comes in a 4n plus 2 way. Now see this 2 uranium 235. Divide by 4. So 4 5 is 20 and 35, that is 8. So 3 is left as remainder, so it is 4n plus 3. You will not get a 4n plus 4 because that will become 4n series. So in this case 238 minus 206 is 32, 32 by 4 is 8 alpha particle will be emitted, and beta will be 16 minus 10, so it will be 6 beta. This has already been done before, so you can figure it out. Next is 4n plus 3 series, actinium series, start with uranium 235 and 207. So there is a difference of 28, 28 by 4 is 7 alpha. And when 2 into alpha, that means 2 into 7, 14, 14 minus 10, so 4 beta particle will be emitted. So during the actinium series, which is from uranium 235 to lead 207, the number of alpha emitted is 7 alpha, whereas the number of beta emitted is 4 beta. This way you can find out the number of alpha and beta emitted during the different series, or whatever series is given in your exam, that will be. So there are two radioactive series, one is called the natural series and one is called the artificial series. 4n plus 1, that is the Neptunian series, belongs to the artificial series, and the end product of artificial is bismuth, the end product of natural is lead isotope. Do keep this in mind. Let's look at the stability of nucleus. Why some nucleus are very stable, like the iron 2656 is regarded as thermodynamically the most stable atom. And the stability of an atom depends on the stability of the nucleus. So the stability of nucleus is governed by N by P ratio, binding energy per nucleon, as well as packing fraction. So you have to know what is N by P ratio. N by P ratio is the neutron to proton ratio. If the neutron to proton ratio is 1, the atom is said to be stable because its nucleus is stable. If the N by P ratio deviates from 1, like 1.52 or more, then the atom is regarded as radioactive. So let's see the example of uranium 235 or 238, 92. So the number of neutron here is 238 minus 92, that is 146, and proton is 92. So the number of neutron by proton ratio will be 146 by 92. As you know, 146 divided by 92 is nearly approximately 1.59 something. That means it is higher than 1.52. That means uranium 238 is a radioactive substance. Is a radioactive substance. Now if you try to do helium 24, the number of neutron is 2, number of proton is also 2. So N by P ratio is 1. That means it is a stable nucleus. It is a stable nucleus. Similarly, if you try to see for tritium 1p3, number of neutron is 2 and number of proton is 1. The N by P ratio is 2, which is maximum for any species in the periodic table. Which is the maximum for any species in the periodic table. And if you want to see for protium 1H1, neutron is 0, proton is 1. So N by P ratio is 0. So this is the least N by P ratio for any species, because hydrogen is the only element with no neutron. So hydrogen protium in the form of protium, the N by P ratio is 0, whereas hydrogen in the form of tritium is N by P ratio is 2, that is maximum. So if the N by P ratio is 1, then the atom is regarded as stable and it is non-radioactive. But if it deviates from this ratio, suppose N by P ratio is greater than equal to 1.52, then it is definitely radioactive. So if the N by P ratio is 1, the atom is stable and non-radioactive. If the N by P ratio is not equal to 1, the chances are that atom will be unstable and its nucleus will be radioactive. N by P ratio greater than equal to 1.52 makes the atom radioactive. So the stability of nucleus is governed by many factors. 3 important factors you have to study. That is, one is called the neutron by proton ratio, another is called binding energy per nucleon, and third is called packing fraction. So these 3, if we can discuss, we will know about the stability of the nucleus. If the packing fraction is positive, then it is unstable. If the packing fraction is negative, then it is stable. And keep it in mind that if the binding energy per nucleon is less than equal to 8 mega electron volt, then it is regarded as unstable. And if it is greater than 8 mega electron volt, then it is regarded as stable and stable atoms. So keep this in mind, that neutron by proton ratio, binding energy per nucleon, as well as packing fraction determines the stability of the nucleus, So you have learned today what is radioactivity, who discovered radioactivity, types of radioactivity like natural radioactivity as well as artificial radioactivity. Artificial radioactivity was discovered by Curie and Joliet, whereas natural was discovered by Henry Becquerel. There are 3 different units of radioactivity: Curie, Ci, Rutherford, Rd, and Becquerel, Bq. So you have to remember this thing. And there are instruments which can detect radioactivity like GM counter, Geiger-Müller counter, Wilson cloud chambers, scintillation counter, and the radioactive elements, atomic number 84 or above are radioactive elements, and transuranic elements above 92 are generally radioactive in nature. Natural radioactivity emits alpha, beta, gamma rays. So these rays are also called Becquerel because it was discovered by Henry Becquerel. And you have to remember the difference between alpha, beta, gamma along with their symbols, their velocity, their penetrating power, their ionization power. So these are the important topics from this chapter. As well as you have already learned how to calculate the number of alpha particle and beta particle. I have already shown you with few examples, and in my next lecture I will be discussing what is group displacement law, what is the radioactive, how to solve the first order reaction, that is how to find the time of a radioactive decay, what is half life, what is the average life, okay, what is radiocarbon dating or C40 radio dating, how to determine the age of the rocks, isotopes, isobars, isotones, isomers and isodiphers. We will be discussing the meson theory about the stability of the nucleus, how the exchange of mesons takes place, and what is mass defect and binding energy. We will be using the very common Einstein mass energy relation equal to mc square, and we will be having a brief discussion of packing fraction, what are magic numbers, and how n by fp ratio decides the mode of decay. Okay, positron emission, what is k cell electron capture, what is neutron emission, what is electron emission. So this thing will be covered, and then we will be discussing nuclear fusion, nuclear fission and radioactive transmutation, how one atom when bombarded with a projectile can form a different atom which is stable, and with the release of some particles in the form of neutron, positron, etc. So this was all about radioactivity today. Hope you understood it, student. Do like and subscribe my channel for more such videos in future. Thank you.